Hello and welcome to my show once again. And here I'm with the beautiful Amanda. Hello, Amanda. Thank you very much for coming online with us.
You're welcome. Thanks for the invitation, Peter.
We are very glad that you are with us. And by the way, where are you now? Because my viewers would like to know where to send the flowers to.
Oh, you can send flowers anytime to Las Vegas, Nevada in the United States.
Excellent, because whatever happens in Vegas stays in Vegas.
Exactly.
But hopefully not the flowers.
Right. No, well, I mean, I won't send them anywhere else, but they'll die here.
Some of my viewers don't know you. I'm pretty certain 99% of my viewers know you very well, but just for the sake of the 1%, can you please tell me what you do with Dash? We know that you are not an official spokesperson, but you are very close to that. So what would be your Dash-like introduction for my Hungarian viewers?
I like to say that I'm a Dash super fan. So my history is I've been working in the cryptocurrency sphere as either a writer or a video news type person, or even a direct employee of the Dash network for about 4 years now. And so, yes, so I became a Dash super fan, I would say about 2 to 3 years ago. And yeah, I'm sure that's more that we'll talk more about that today, the reasons why.
Excellent. Just out of curiosity, when you checked in the hotel, did some people recognize you? Do people recognize you when you walk on the street? Oh, this is Mrs. Dash. Hi, Amanda. How are you doing?
I would love to be able to say yes, but I mean, I'm lucky to be recognized at a cryptocurrency type event. That's a lucky thing, and that feels, of course, really good. But I'm not well known enough here in Vegas yet, though I hope to change that.
Rest assured, if you happen to walk in downtown Budapest, you would be stopped and some people would ask for your signature.
No, but thank you. I mean, that's crazy, but thank you.
Thank you, Amanda. Let me just share my screen for my Hungarian viewers. So Dash is a digital cash, and Dashworks states that Dash is digital cash and the revolutionary money system. So what is so revolutionary in the saturated cash time coin market, where we have Litecoin and IOTA for quick and cheap transfer, and we have Monero and Zcash for privacy and anonymity. So what makes Dash so revolutionary among the dozens of other payment coins?
So that is a great question. And since your question is twofold, the answer is twofold. So the first thing you had asked about was quickness of payments. And the reason that Dash leads in that category is because Dash is one of the very few cryptocurrencies which has what we call a second tier of infrastructure. And all that really means is there's another kind of computer working on the Dash network other than just a mining computer. And the kind of computer I'm talking about is called a masternode. And one of the things that it allows for is what is effectively an instant confirmation of a payment. So you had mentioned some other coins in the space, like Litecoin, for example. And the thing about these other blockchain-based coins, you know, even if they are faster than Bitcoin, Bitcoin's confirmation times being roughly 10 minutes, even if they are faster than that, like Litecoin is like roughly 2.5 minute block times. 2.5 minutes is still way too long to wait to buy a cup of coffee. Way too long, because we're talking about competing with credit cards here, and credit cards authorize in 5 seconds or fewer. And so the masternode computer in the Dash network allows for what's called the locking of inputs. And when you lock the inputs, meaning when I send a payment, if the whole Dash network puts a lock on that, that means that it's impossible for me to double spend. And that way the merchant can accept the payment and know instantly that he can hand me my coffee and I can walk away, because it's impossible for me to double spend that payment back to myself. So that is the way in which Dash leads in terms of speed. And then in terms of privacy, which you also asked about. So there are, as you mentioned, some other projects in the space also attempting to solve the problem of privacy on a blockchain, which I really like. I really like seeing a lot of different attempts at solving the same problem, because when we have multiple attempts at solving the same problem, the best will rise to the top and we'll all benefit. So my personal preference for a cryptocurrency is first and foremost that I can have absolute certainty of the monetary supply. And that's one of the things that Satoshi Nakamoto talks about in his white paper for Bitcoin. It's basically the main reason behind his design of what we have come to call the blockchain technology, which is if all creation of new coins is publicly announced, and if every time one of those coins moves from one location to another, it's also publicly announced, we can have certainty about the coin supply. And what that means, of course, is a perfectly transparent blockchain, which, of course, Bitcoin is. And so when Dash was created, it was actually called Darkcoin back in the day when it was created 4 years ago. The main thing that its proponents were attempting to do was keep the Dash blockchain transparent, meaning you can see everything that happens on it, nothing is hidden, but also create lots of uncertainty about where any given payment came from if the person who sent that payment chose to utilize the privacy feature. By the way, the privacy feature is also enabled by that second tier computer, that master node. And so when it comes to seeking privacy in a payment, basically it's whatever a person values most, I think, that would dictate which blockchain network they choose to use. If they value certainty of coin count most, I think they would choose to use a transparent solution like Dash, which, by the way, utilizes, to put it very roughly, utilizes coin mixing. Meaning the history of my coins and the history of Peter's coins and the history of John's and Jose's and Connie's coins all get, blah, 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 so that no one can tell where each one really came from. Then that's probably the solution that you would want to use. And in terms of the other solutions that are out there, they employ basically cryptography, where Dash does not employ cryptography, in an attempt to obscure away the appearance of payment details on their blockchain. And so on the one hand, that can be, very good because, hey, there are no details showing. But on the other hand, when there are no details showing, the double edge to that sword is that sometimes things go wrong. And people don't always realize that they're going wrong initially because they can't see the details. And that's actually happened in some of these other privacy coins. There was a problem that was compromising privacy and people didn't know about it for a while. And so, so there are ups and downs and trade-offs there. But I think all told, the Dash privacy solution is, at least as far as blockchains go, is the best one.
I understand. Thank you, Amanda, very much. And we have listened to this fantastic presentation of the speed of Dash. Despite that, the price of Dash has been falling, and it used to be ahead of Litecoin or around at the same position. So how would you explain the continuous loss of value of Dash? Because now I think it's at position 11. I just checked it before the show. So what can explain the loss of value of Dash in your opinion?
That is a great question. And I attribute, so firstly, if you look at just Dash and Dash alone, there's not been an exceptional loss of value as compared to the ups and downs of other coins in the space over the past 3 months. But rather its position has gone down because there has been surges of excitement and purchasing around more or less new coins. Not to say that they just came out, but actually some of them did just come out kind of recently. And so things that a lot of people hadn't even heard of, showed up in the top 10 overnight, and they've stayed there. So So in terms of like why, is there more excitement about those newer projects than Dash? At this time, it's perfectly understandable for the standpoint of a lot of people, I think, because Dash is not trying to sell anything new and flashy right now. And what I'm saying is Dash is not trying to sell any extra use cases other than payments. And so because Bitcoin is still, for better or for worse, used as, it has the most volume on its blockchain, hence it's being used for payments the most, competing in the payment space is kind of a little bit boring. And I don't think that any blockchain-based network is going to overtake Bitcoin in its volume and exceed Bitcoin in its volume until it's able to break out of the market that it's currently in. Because the market that it's currently in, they either they feel comfortable with using cryptocurrency, like storing their own private keys. If you don't know what that means, so cryptocurrency is kind of tricky to use. So you have what's called public addresses, and that's how you receive payments. That's how you look up balances. And corresponding to every public address, you have what's called a private key. And that is something that if you want to hold your coins yourself, you have to manage yourself. And it's a long string of numbers and letters. We're talking, 28 characters plus. And if you don't manage it in precisely the right way, you can have a total loss of funds, completely irrecoverable to you. And so in the crypto sphere right now, the main investors that we have are either the people who feel comfortable with that level of responsibility and technological savvy over their funds, or we have people who are leaving their coins in the possession of exchanges so that they don't have to deal with any of that. But when they leave their coins in possession of exchanges, they fail to understand how difficult and just kind of nasty it is to try to use this stuff in everyday life, to try to manage it yourself, pay with it yourself, secure it yourself. And so I think that we won't see any coin overtake Bitcoin in the payments use case until these cryptocurrencies stop feeling like cryptocurrencies. And so that is precisely what Dash is working on. Dash is working on what's been codenamed Evolution. They've been working on it in a private repository for 2.5 years now, and they're set to release it this year. And because all of these developers have been, more or less working with their heads down for 2.5 years, they're not at all out, for better or for worse, they're not trying to stir up any excitement. And so they don't stir up any excitement. Like there's not very much exciting about the people working for Dash. They don't say exciting things. They don't make exciting announcements and appearances. I mean, I think they're exciting because I'm thinking like long term. But as far as like short-term excitement, like, oh, we just invented this, or, we're going to be the blockchain that takes over real estate, or the blockchain that takes over healthcare, or the blockchain that takes over international shipping routes. There's none of that in Dash. And so, so I think a lot of these newer investors who are coming in are just looking for where the most exciting, flashy thing is right now. And that's not Dash right now. And so the coin market cap ranking reflects that.
I understand. Thank you very much for the explanation. I always wanted to hear the full story because I also have Dash, and I wish for the rise of Dash, of course. Amanda, you just mentioned Dash Evolution. It was already announced early last year that this would come out this year, and it would really enhance the user experience. Now, I really like Bitcoin and all cryptocurrencies, not all, but most cryptocurrencies. But my mother and my mother-in-law, they are watching my show, but they don't know how to use cryptocurrencies. And we really hope that Dash Evolution will just change the ground. can you please just tell us what Dash evolution will bring about and how it will enhance the user experience of the average Joe in downtown Budapest, please?
Sure. That's the perfect question to be asking, because my mother doesn't understand how to use cryptocurrency either. And so when it comes to the user experience, at this point in time, you can, to an extent, as I had mentioned before, if you're using something like an exchange, it can kind of soften the experience for you in that some of these exchanges will allow you to, for example, enter your friend's email address, and then that exchange will send an email to your friend on your behalf saying something like, Peter wants to send you this amount of funds in cryptocurrency. Click create an account on our exchange to accept the funds. And that experience is a softening of what it really is to use cryptocurrency. And that experience is more reminiscent of how it feels to use, for example, PayPal. And PayPal is very popular, and it's very popular for a reason. It's because it's pretty easy to use. So when we say things like Dash evolution will allow Dash to feel like PayPal, again, it doesn't sound very exciting to people because they're already using exchanges like, I don't know if Coinbase is available in Hungary or not, but whether it is or not, the Coinbase-like experience, which is what I was describing with the emails and that kind of thing, that kind of experience is only available with cryptocurrency, with using these exchanges that hold your private keys, which means that you, in a way, you kind of have to give up one of the main points of using cryptocurrency, which is you controlling your funds, you being your own bank. Because these exchanges, on the whole, have a terrible track record. I read a statistic last year that said something like 1/3 of all cryptocurrency exchanges to date have been hacked, and whether those are from legitimate, but like actual outside black hat attacks, or whether that's in malfeasance or embezzlement from within the organization, I don't know. But 1/3 of all cryptocurrency exchanges having lost funds, that's a pretty bad track record and a pretty big risk to be taking. And so the fact that you have to use one of these exchanges to get this even a little bit nice user experience right now is pointing the way to the future of saying, okay, that is why Dash evolution is exciting. Not because the experience that Dash evolution will offer is, like totally brand new. Oh, no one ever heard of having a nice interface, but because it will bring that nice interface to the user while still allowing her to hold all her own funds herself. And so when I talk about nice interface, what do I mean? Well, first of all, I mean the removal of the appearance of cryptographic addresses. So in Dash, my address right now is something like X4932ZYB2 blah, blah, blah. It's horrible. And so, how much better would it be if I'd like to receive a payment from you, Peter, I can just tell you, my Dash wallet is called Amanda B. Johnson. And that's it. And it's that kind of thing that takes cryptocurrency from being this stuff that confuses people, understandably, to being something that they're like, oh no, a username and password. I get that. I use usernames and passwords all the time. I know what that means. And with this username and password that I'm talking about, a major advent of evolution. Again, I don't know why people don't get more excited about this, because they should, but it will mean the removal of the problem of what's called the device-specific wallet. So in cryptocurrency right now, if you choose to hold your own funds, your funds can really only live on one device. So they can live on your tablet, or they can live on your desktop, or they can live on your phone, or they can live on your little hardware wallet. And so if you're out and about and you'd like to make a payment or receive a payment or whatever, and you don't have that particular device on you at the time, forget about it. You don't have access to your funds. And so the part of evolution that is the username and password really creates more of what could be considered an account within Dash rather than a wallet. It's an account. And so with an account, you can access your Dash from any device, which makes it not unlike online banking. Hey, no problem. Just any device would work. And so I think that those two things, the removal of the cryptographic addresses, not to say that the blockchain won't still be using them, it will, but rather it won't show up in the visual interface to the user. So the removal of cryptographic addresses and the removal of the problem of the device-specific wallet, I think will do great leaps and bounds in terms of getting our mothers, Peter's mother and my mother, more comfortable in using it.
What is the scheduled release date of Dash Evolution that our mothers can use?
So all the core and the developers that we're talking about here, they're employed by the Dash Core Group, Inc. So that is a company that is employed by the Dash network. And they have not given any hard single day releases, but rather they've said sometime this year. So sometime 2018. That's all that is known. I, of course, hope that it's sooner than later, as I'm sure that you do also, Peter.
Thank you very much. And Amanda, then let me just talk about the mainstream adoption of Dash. And we are aware of two programs, the Great American Pilgrimage, also known as GAP, with Max Kaiser, and we have Kuva Cash in Zimbabwe. So how are they going and what are they meant to accomplish?
Sure. So the Great American Pilgrimage it was a series that was filmed by Max Kaiser and his team, as you had said. And they basically went on a sort of video tour in and around the United States, and they had applied for sponsorship from Dash's treasury, and they received that sponsorship. And so they wore Dash t-shirts and put it on their bus and gave away some Dash to some of the people they visited on the road. So that is past. That is over. I believe that the episodes that they released are viewable on like the RT channel, the RT news channel. And then Kuva Cash, which you bring up, that is, again, it's an organization that applied for Dash Treasury funds. Anybody can apply for Dash Treasury funds. It's an organization that saw the success of the system called M-Pesa in various African countries, in which basically these various African countries are more ahead in mobile payments than other countries, Western countries included, in that it started out as people actually swapping phone minutes as currency. And this company, M-Pesa, formed when they noticed that, hey, what if we make, this mobile exchange experience better and offer these people something other than their actual phone minutes that they're using, and hence, was M-Pesa, this widely used monetary system, born. And so this company called Kuva Cash thought to themselves, what if we could go into one of the markets where M-Pesa is not, and offer them a mobile interface that actually uses Dash as the back end for the payment transfer, for the speed and for the cheapness. And so they have not yet released their product. I saw a sort of like a teaser video from them within the past month that was really well done. And I don't know their exact release date of that, but they are beginning to get a little bit more media coverage. So I am hopeful as to that, because I don't know how much your viewers have heard about the earlier days of cryptocurrency, but in the earlier days of cryptocurrency, people were all about talking about, banking the unbanked and taking Bitcoin. It was usually Bitcoin, like taking Bitcoin to Africa and how the people of Africa needed Bitcoin. And of course, that's unthinkable now, in that the average Bitcoin transaction fee costs more than people in those types of scenarios earn in a full day's work. And so if Kuva Cash is really able to deliver Dash to Zimbabwe in the way that they are saying that they can, that would be, I think, a first for the whole cryptocurrency industry that's been, saying these things for all these years, but not actually accomplishing them. And then if I may bring up a third project that has been applying for treasury funds, that has been actually several groups of people down in Venezuela. As you may know, there is a hyperinflation of the Venezuelan, I believe it's a bolivar, if I'm remembering correctly. Yes. So the Venezuelan bolivar is, nearing worthless. And apparently people are just fleeing the country, and it's a kind of a nightmare scenario, similar to what Zimbabwe used to experience before they started using paper US dollars. And so there are groups of people down in Venezuela who have been conducting very large Dash meetups that basically invite anyone who wants to come, and they have a presentation on what is Dash, how do I use it, how do I get some, basically. And I understand that their turnouts have been as high as 1,000 or 2,000 people. So much interest that this last treasury cycle in Dash, a treasury cycle is a month long, by the way. So every month, anyone can apply for funds. And at the end of the month, the votes from masternode owners are tallied up. And if any given funding proposal receives enough yes votes, the Dash is just automatically distributed to them 3 days later. And so this last treasury cycle, a group of Venezuelans applied for funding to start a Dash help center. So like an actual call center with a front desk where they could answer people's questions of how to get started with a wallet, how to use your wallet, how to secure your wallet, how to get and send funds. And it was approved. And so I think that that is also pretty big, and I will be watching very closely to see how their help center plays out.
That's excellent, because we are closely watching the Venezuelan situation. In my last program, I just talked about Petro, their national cryptocurrency, which had mixed reception, of course, because it's not decentralized. But the Hungarian viewers are well aware of the situation in Venezuela, and we talked about it a lot. Thank you very much, Amanda. So finally, how can my viewers follow you either on Twitter, Facebook? How can they follow Dash? Can you please share your thoughts about that?
Yes, I would love a follow on Twitter. I'm Amanda_B_Johnson. And then in terms of presence elsewhere, my other presence is on YouTube. So if you'd like to see any of the things that I've made about Dash in particular in the past, you'd visit youtube.com/dashorg. And then if you'd like to see what I'm working on now, which is actually twofold. So I've just recently launched a weekly discussion series where myself and Diamond Michael Scott, who is a longtime cryptocurrency journalist, where we get together and chat every Tuesday. And so you will find that at youtube.com/AmandaBJohnson. And the playlist where you'll find that series is called Just Around the Block. That's the name of the show. But in addition to Just Around the Block, I have a sort of mini, I have something that I'd like to release. You know what, why don't I just say it right now? So when I look around the cryptosphere and read reports and watch videos, I see what I would consider to be a good number of myths being perpetuated about how blockchain technology works. And these myths are being used as selling points in a lot of scenarios. And I think that's probably not good. for people to have unrealistic expectations and to be making investments based on myths. And so I am currently formulating a series of short videos that would be released all at once, basically doing cryptocurrency myth busting. And so that is something that will live on my channel in the coming month or two as well.
Thank you, Amanda. Please be prepared for the sudden growth of your view counts after I air my show for my Hungarian audience. Thank you very much, Amanda. And for my Hungarian viewers, thank you for being with us. See you in my next program. Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Peter. Bye-bye.